Live from New York, this is WIUR Radio.
Boy, has it been a while. Welcome back, folks, to hopefully what will be a new and improved GTSS. I'm your host, Jason Adams, and what hopefully, like I just said, will be a more structured, more composed, more just smooth going throughout. Last semester was trying to figure out the kinks of this whole thing, the nerves, but I think I fully figured it out. I am just so ready to finally talk because so much has happened just a month and a half ago, around that range. Obviously, supposed to start last week. Snowstorm completely canceled it, but here we are now. And I am so excited to be back because we have so much to talk about. Hockey is in full swing. The Olympics are almost up. My favorite team is the best team in the tri-state area somehow. Football. The Super Bowl happens, and the suffering never ends for football fans in New York because, of course. And basketball, the Knicks are doing incredible, but the Nets are obviously at the bottom, like everybody expects. And baseball, what started as a disaster for both the Mets and somewhat the Yankees, even though that's still kind of the going, the Mets have completely turned it around, and I would say have a winning offseason. We have so much to talk to. That was just the little preview. I'm so excited to finally talk about my opinions on, first of all, what I love the most, hockey. And I have to open up, like I just said, with the best team in the tri-state area, the New York Islanders. This team is not a cup contender, but they have the pieces to be a cup contender in the very near future. And the only way to open that up is with Matthew Schaefer. He looks like he's possibly having, he is having right now the greatest 18-year-old defenseman season we have ever seen. He is currently put up 15 points, 22 assists, 15 goals, 22 assists for 37 points in 55 games. As an 18-year-old, he is a month older than me. He was 10 days away from being the 2026 draft, which he would have been the oldest possible player. And I think, I think there is so many positives to take away from this. I mean, you have your franchise staple. The critiques of the 2020, 2021 teams were, or 2019, I'll count that too, is they didn't have that franchise piece, that game-changing player. Matthew Schaefer is that game-changing player, and he's going to be, hopefully, for 20 years and win a couple Stanley Cups with the New York Islanders. And I've never been so giddy about the player. And I'll get to another young player because I just have to talk about the young core this team is building. Matthew Schaefer will be I'm confident, top 10 player, maybe even a top 5 player. He could be the best defenseman in the league at the rate he is playing. Cale Makar was playing in the tier 2 junior leagues when he was 18 in in Canada. That's crazy. He is completely changing the expectations of NHL defensemen. Like Keaton Verhoff might make his NHL debut next year. And he's another really young defenseman. He'll be 18 in, I think, June or whenever he will be. But he will be 18 by the draft. I don't know what I'm talking about. He will be obviously 18. He has to play 18. But Matthew Schaefer is changing how NHL defensemen are going to be developed, especially top defensemen. And he's playing for my favorite hockey team. He also just has the personality to be a game-changing hockey player. He's so active in interviews. He's so expressive. He just says what he wants and he doesn't care. And I think that is such a good thing for the NHL because so many boring personalities at the top. I like McDavid, the most incredible player I've ever watched in my entire life. The best player, I would argue, a top 5 player in the entire NHL's history. He is boring. There are rarely NHL just talents and personalities. Matthew Schaefer is one of them. He has the chance to be one of the top 5 players in the world and have the best personality in the NHL. And I think that is such a good way to grow the game. I mean, you got Tom Brady talking about him now. He could completely transcend hockey, which somebody hasn't done since Sid and Ovi did back in the late 2000s. We are witnessing, hopefully, a generational talent play for the New York Islanders, which has not been said probably since like Mike Bossy. John Tavares was a good player, all-star, not a superstar, game-changing player. I mean, he was dragging Kyle Oposo, Josh Bailey, Michael Grabner to the playoffs, but there are so many like levels to this that I cannot believe. And he's a New York Islander. Like the future is so bright with just him alone, but not to mention with young guys like Callum Ritchie, who is my personal favorite player. I bought his jersey. Like he's going to be my favorite player. That guy is the second line center of the future. And he was playing like a first line center at the rate before he got hurt, sadly, which he won't be back by the All-Star break. But like this is a staple piece right there. Second line center. You got him for Brock Nelson. I mean, Abraham Lincoln. Sorry. Like, it's crazy. The Islanders are in such a good spot with just these two players alone. And I'm so, like, it was gloom and doom just like a year ago. You could just say Cole Yzerman was our best prospect. And no, he's not turning out to be that great. But, like, Cole Yzerman could be a very good player, but we never know. But that was like a boomer bust. He's a boomer bust player. The Islanders have solidified them to, like, a second line center of the future and a defenseman of the future. And already they're proving that. And you still have young guys like Victor Eklund, who I 100% believe will be a first line winger. Like that guy just hustles, plays great board games. Like he is such a physical player at such a small size, like had a great World Juniors. He's not having the craziest Swedish league, but he only has like 4 less points than Anton Frondell. And Frondell was the 3rd overall pick. So I'm really not worried there. William Eklund had the same kind of production in his years in the SHL. So like if we're looking at a 60, 70 possible point player for Victor Eklund with a 15th, 16th overall pick, I'll take that any day of the week. But Keyshawn Aitchison did not have a good World Juniors, but he's still putting up like 30 goals, 80-point pace as a defenseman, I think. So like that could be a solid middle pairing guy in the future. You just never know. Like, I'm talking all about the future, but I'll get to the current team right now because they're way better than everybody expected. But you have Cole Yzerman, who has been hurt a lot this year and haven't really been able to prove. He didn't have a good World Juniors, so a lot of the trust or like the process has fallen off with him, and a lot of people have lost faith with him, including me. I would like to try to trade him before his trade value completely drops because I don't have his stats pulled up, but he was not doing good. Let me just pull them up for you. He currently has in a BU 16 points in 22 games, which is actually better than I thought it was. But he's also a -7. Like he kind of turned it around a little bit. But like compared to last year, 27 points, 39 games, 25 goals, and then the World Juniors 7 points with very limited ice time in 7 games. He was having such a good last year. Got injured this year. He's kind of turned it around since I checked, but I'm still just kind of losing faith in him. But like, yeah, the future looks bright. I didn't even mention the young Jacob Kaznika, who is a 7th round pick. He's having an incredible season in the OHL. I think not incredible, like a very good season. I think he has 64 points in 46 games. So over 18 points per game. Incredible. Like that is a 7th round pick, 202th overall in the 2025 draft at just 18 years old. Like, hey, maybe this guy could turn into something. But there is just so much hope for the future that I haven't even been able to talk about the current team. I mean, Ilya Sorokin is going to win the Vezina at this rate. He is doing this with probably the worst defense I have ever seen in my entire life. I mean, Tony DeAngelo is getting important minutes for this team, and that really bothers me. He's actually been surprisingly good recently, but like I cannot stand him because he plays no defense, a lick of defense. Scott Mayfield is getting $3 million to skate around. I mean, he plays every game and he has moments. I'm telling you, Scott Mayfield is the weirdest player I've ever seen. He will look like prime Scott Niedermayer all of a sudden, and then he'll look like a pine cone. It's crazy. I cannot believe that guy. Adam Pellick and Ryan Pulock look like 2020, 2021 Adam Pellick and Ryan Pulock. So like that's a cool resurgence. The team is so bad defensively. Ilya Sorokin has a plus 35 goal save above expected. He is single-handedly dragging this team to the playoffs. Like the Jets last year were carried by Connor Hellebuck. That's why he won the Hart. But I mean, like we're talking about even better performances by Sorokin. And they obviously lost their last game, and he gave up 4 goals. But like, I'll get to that. That game pissed me off, and I have to rant about that for a little bit. But he needs to win the Vezina. Like the Islanders are gonna have 2 guaranteed award winners in my eyes: Sorokin Vezina, Schaefer rookie Calder. And I know Canadian fans say Demidov, Ducks fans say Seneca. I actually do like Seneca and Demidov, but like, no. An 18-year-old defenseman putting up 55, 60 points, 20 goals is ridiculous. And none of those players, even if they put up 70, 80 points, they shouldn't win. I mean, Barzell had an 87-point rookie season or an 85, either way in that range. He was over point per game. And he barely won it over, I think it was a goalie. I don't remember. It might have been Besser, but I'm not exactly sure. But like, there's so much to look forward to. The team is competitive. They're they're in a playoff spot. They're only 4 points ahead now. 2 big games coming up against Pittsburgh and Washington. So look out for that. But I think the Islanders are in the best spot in the tri-state area. And I'll get to the Devils, I'll get to the Rangers. And I mean, they're buying right now. I didn't even bring that up. The Islanders are currently buying. They have traded for 2 players, 2 interstate rivals, the 2 other teams in the tri-state area. Andre Palat and Carson Soucy are New York Islanders, and the Carson Soucy trade really pissed me off because it was the night after the Flyers game, and they had Isaiah George, who I am a big fan of. I really like Isaiah George. I think he can be a very good, solid bottom 2 guy, maybe even a middle pairing guy. I've always thought that since they drafted him. I've been confident, and he's proved that. I think he was proving that he could be a bottom pair guy in the league, at least a bottom pair guy. Like, I think he could have got to that second pair. But they say, hey, you just got an assist. Your first game, we are immediately sending you down again, and we are going to trade for a bottom pair defenseman and throw away a 3rd round pick. And that really bothered me. Like, I was really pissed when that trade happened. I was going on rants to family, friends, and it just, I didn't know how to feel. And then the next day, I'm scrolling on Twitter and I see, Elliot Friedman posting that the Islanders are interested on taking on Andre Palat. And I'm like, very confused because that is well known, one of the worst contracts in the entire NHL. But like, you understand like, if you're taking on this contract, you should get assets for it. The Devils want to get rid of it, so they're probably just begging anybody to take it. And Matthew Darsh has connections with Palat from the Tampa days. Like, there are, like, this is a very Lou Lamoriello move, but like, I was worried that they were going to give up something to take on his contract, and they didn't. They gave up Maxim Siplikov, who was not good, was having a very bad season, like, threw away the salary of Siplikovs to take on $4 million. I'm sorry, to take on $4 million, you give away a $2 million salary. So like, there's just levels to it. If they gave up anything, my opinion would have been completely different. No, they pretty much moved up the 3rd round pick. They traded away to the Rangers and got a 6th round pick on top of that. And hey, Andre Palat got 2 points and Carson Soucy has a goal. So, excuse me. What do I know? Like, just absolutely, maybe the biggest genius in the tri-state area is Matthew Darsh. I don't know how to feel about that. But yeah, the Islanders are in such a good spot. 2 big games coming up against 2 teams that you are either chasing or are chasing you. Would love for the final stretch to maybe go 2-0-1. You take that any day of the week. You have to beat these 2 teams. And if you lose to the Devils in overtime or something, that's fine. They're a little farther behind, but the Devils can't stay healthy. So what's the worry there? I shouldn't say that. I'm jinxing myself. But yeah, the Islanders are in such a good spot. The future is bright. The team is good. I am happy. Like, I never thought, like, the 0-3 start, I would have thought this team would have been last place in the league. And obviously, without Sorokin, they would be last place in the league. But God has funny ways of trolling you, I guess. I don't know. Damn. Got a cough out of nowhere. But I think that is a great way to segment into the other team that does not have any goaltending. That's not the Devils. I would get to Jacob Markstrom, but anyway, the Rangers are currently announced. They've announced Chris Drury sent out the letter 2.0. And I'm having a whimsical because my team's competing for the playoffs, has a hopefully generational defenseman, and the Rangers are currently spiraling down to the bottom of the standings. And that makes me feel very good. Very, very good. And I'm very happy about that. Damn, I don't know what is going on. I just have a cough all of a sudden. I think there is like just 9 years later, they had the pieces, man. I hate the Rangers, but I got to admit, they had those pieces to really build a cup contender. Kako, Lafreniere, Braden Schneider was a solid pick in like the second or third round of the 2020 draft. Will Cooley was a huge developmental win. Because Zibanejad was like a 28, 29-year-old like star player in college just a couple years ago, like a 90, 80-point guy. Panarin, the huge signing of the offseason, which we will get to more Panarin talk. Vincent Trocheck was, I didn't like it that much, but what a good signing that was. You had a 26, 25-year-old. There was in prime Adam Fox. You had a superstar caliber goaltender. You had the pieces to build a cup, to win a cup. Thank God they didn't. But like, they had all the pieces in the world to build this cup, and it just fell apart. And I think it comes down to the young guys' development. Kako and Lafreniere were the second overall pick and the first overall pick. They should have been superstars. Lafreniere had 114 points in the OHL or something in like 50 games in the 2020 draft. You lucked into that pick. You lucked into the Kako pick, and they just completely messed up their development. There is no other way of saying it. Same thing with Brandon Hoffman, but like he's a little more excusable. I mean, he had also a 100-point season in the OHL draft year +1. There were so many young guys, so many young cores, and they just like, I'm going to go jump into the Lafreniere development because that's what really pissed me off. They decided, hey, you're our first overall pick. You should be a superstar in the National Hockey League. And you've shown flashes. You've done crazy moves to get around defenders. You've scored good goals. You're going to get third line minutes. Maybe if there's an injury, second power play time. But most likely you're not going to be getting that. You're just going to stick on the third line, get no other extra time. That's how we're going to develop you because our top six is loaded with veteran guys. And we're just going to hope you pray and develop like this. Same thing with Kako. Third line, you're stuck there. You're not going to get power play time. Hopefully you develop. And I think that is just not that's just not how you do it. The Islanders immediately thrust, like Schaefer proved he was. Obviously, Schaefer might just be different. You never know. But like, played his first game and immediately got, hey, you're going to get like 18 minutes tonight. Just see what you can do. And he did. And now he's playing number one power play, number one defenseman minutes at 18. Why couldn't Lafreniere get the same treatment? Because they signed Panarin. They had Zibanejad. They had veteran guys who were taking up the spots. They were trying to be competitive at the same time of developing young guys. And obviously the Islanders are doing the same thing, but there's levels to it because the Islanders are saying, we're going to be competitive if you guys are good. There is, oh my God, I can't stop coughing. Like we're going to be competitive if you guys are good, and they're good. They're competitive. So why couldn't the Rangers do that? Because they signed too many guys. And Kako's not here anymore. And he's thriving in Seattle. He's got like 30 points in 40 games. Like he looks like he'll be a 60, 70-point guy. He could have been better, second overall pick, but still you take that any day of the week if you were a Rangers fan. Lafreniere is a disaster right now. I think he has, not like a disaster. He's still only 24, but he only has like 30 points or something. I don't know how to spell his name. So I'm hopefully okay, it actually filled it out. Lafreniere currently has 32 points in 56 games, which is a solid middle six forward. You shouldn't the guy had 112 points in 52 games at QMJTL. That was Crosby level production. And this has just been a complete flat line. He's getting $7.8 million a year. Just they messed him up. They messed Kako up. And I really would consider trading him if I was the Rangers. You're not going to get crazy value for him, but you maybe can get something out of it. If I'm a team, I'm taking this contract. I'm taking this chance. A 24-year-old who has had incredible junior numbers. I wanted the Islanders to trade for him last year, if the Rangers were considering moving on from him. I really wanted to take a chance. He's only in the first year of that 7-year deal, which obviously will be the cap's going up, so the contract won't look as bad in the future. But there is just God, this is so frustrating as a fan of just in general. This guy could have been so good. Thank God he's not, but he could have been. And they messed it up completely. And the guy they messed him up with because they were playing him over him was Panarin. And Panarin, who has most likely played his last game as a New York Ranger, has been scratched for the past, I think, 3 games or something because they want to trade him. And I saw the report was that they're looking for at the start, a Brock Nelson type trade package, which was Callum Ritchie and a first round pick for Brock Nelson, which right now, obviously, it's the 32nd pick probably because the Avalanche are so good, they're going to probably win the cup. But you got a first round pick and Callum Ritchie, who is going to be your second line center of the future. And that's the starting package the Rangers want, which I could see why. Like that is such like the Islanders got such a good deal for a obviously 40 goal scorer right now on pace for, but they want more. And I'm seeing teams. I saw the Islanders, which do not trade for Panarin. And Matthew Darce already kind of confirmed that they're not doing anything like that. They're not going to make some ridiculous trade for a 35-year-old, 34-year-old. They're not competitive. They're not fully going for it this year, which thank God. I think Lou would have immediately traded everything for Artemi Panarin. Guy was going to give him $14 million a couple off seasons ago. But I saw the Hurricanes, they're always in on big fish. Like I'm seeing like First, Nadeau, a bunch of teams have the assets to do it. But which team I think is going to do it the most? Like what team I think is going to do it the most? Panthers, I don't think they have the assets to do it. The Kings, I think they need scoring. I think they're going to be that's it. I will say, I think the Kings are the most likely team to do it. They need scoring. They're like third worst goals, but they're like fifth in goals against. So they're just completely on the opposite side of the spectrum. Whatever the GM's name is, I forgot his name, but he used us as leverage. Screw him. But oh my God, what's his name? He was the Red Wings GM for years and Oilers, and he just made so many stupid decisions. He signed Cody Ceci to a 4-year, $4 million. Anyway, just he loves veteran guys, so he'll probably trade for Panarin. So I think the most realistic outcome for Panarin is the Kings. I don't know how many assets they have to give away. Obviously, it's going to be a first, even more. Now, assuming this comes with an extension, obviously, like the trade packages could be completely different if the team doesn't want to give him an extension. But I want to talk more about his legacy more than what they're getting for him. This is a guy who signed in the 2019-20 offseason. He chose the Rangers over teams like the Islanders and the Panthers. Panthers just couldn't do it because of cap reasons. The Islanders did it. He just didn't want to go to the Islanders. He wanted to go to the Rangers. And this is a guy who chose the Rangers. Even though they gave him a lot of money, they still gave him a lot of money. But like, he chose you. Capitalize on it. Nope. He absolutely failed. Just an absolute disaster. I think it's an absolute disaster. He was a playoff choker. He had, I think, one good series in his time. Like he has the OT goal against the Penguins in 2022. Hey, cool. Iconic moment on the Rangers. You still won nothing. I feel the exact same way about a bunch of players on the New York Islanders in 2020 and 2021. Like, you didn't win anything. I love those teams. Those teams were the first ever like winning hockey teams or winning teams in general I ever saw other than the 2015 Mets, and they didn't even win. Like those were the closest a team has ever gotten for me other than the Mets. Even I think the Islanders were closer because I think they would have won the cup if they made the cup final. I think the Ranger fans are going to look back with positive memories of Panarin, but I still think it's a disaster of a contract because they never won the big thing. And that's how I've always seen it. If you don't win the thing, it's a failure. No matter what. No matter what happens, like if the Islanders signed Tavares, like the Tavares contract in Toronto was a failure. You didn't win a cup. You had Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares, the big four, and Morgan Riley, because why not? Throw him in there. You didn't win. That contract's a failure. And the Panarin one, in my eyes, will be the exact same thing. And if he did it with the Islanders, he didn't win a cup, he's a failure. No matter what happens, if you sign a contract like that, you are a failure. You failed to win. You failed to win the big thing. I do not care how far you made it. If you made it to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final, you failed. If Connor McDavid does not win a Stanley Cup in the next 2 years or 3 years, however long his contract is, It's a failure. The Oilers failed. And he probably will leave if they don't win because they're just heading down the spiral right now. And I know they have Draisaitl. Like, it's the same thing. Panarin is a failure, and I will stand by that. No matter how many 100-point seasons you have, you failed. You didn't win the big thing. Cool, and he might well win a cup with another team, and maybe the contract will, it's going to be a failure with the Rangers no matter what. Maybe not a failure overall if he wins a cup with another team, but on the same contract. But the Rangers failed the Panarin era. That's what this should be. The Panarin era is what it's called. It's funny, but frustrating. They had the core and they had the superstar. They failed. And that's all I have to say. They had multiple superstars. What am I even talking about? He failed. He failed. Panarin failed. It was a good run, but the contract didn't work out. And if I'm a Ranger fan, you really got to consider trading everybody if you're trading Panarin. This is a failure of an era. You want to move on. I have been wanting the Islanders to move on from this core for the longest time. They failed. They're old. It's time. Even though they're competitive, I still want them to consider trading Peugeot and Lee. And those are two expiring guys. Peugeot specifically. Lee, I understand keeping captain, heart and soul of the team. But I don't think anybody should save. And I think the same thing should be for the Rangers. And I know that's crazy because I still think if you get a call for Fox or Shesterkin, you hear them. They're both, Shesterkin's 30, turning 31, I think, in this year. He's turning 31. Fox is 28, turning 29 this year, I think. You have two guys who are in the primes of their career, who are on big contracts, who are going to keep you from ever bottoming out. The fear was the Islanders were never going to be bad enough because Sorokin was always going to be there. This is even worse because you have two superstars. You have Fox and Shesterkin. So you're telling me you have to lose games with a superstar goalie and a superstar defenseman who are going to want to keep winning. Nobody wants to lose, even if it's for the betterment of the team. Fox, I understand keeping more because I think he'd rather die than play for any other team. Because the whole softy ass thing he did by forcing his way to the Rangers when he got drafted, even though he was a third round pick, it was ridiculous. I just think you have to listen to teams. You have to listen to teams that they call, specifically Fox. Shesterkin, I don't think is movable. That contract's way too big. He's getting $11 or $12 million. Way too much money. Way too much money for a goalie. I will always stand by that. No matter how good the goalie is, I am not getting, because they could sink you. Sorokin's making $8 million. $8 to $10 million for a goalie is the perfect range because they can either sink you or completely rot. Bobrovsky got 10.5 over his big contract in Florida, which is, I think, ending this year. He sunk them for the first 3 years and then turned it on in the end. That is so much, that is the perfect range for a goalie because that contract worked out. But it couldn't have because they were paying him so much money and they were so cap struck. There are so many, you need to consider. And I saw somebody say Fox to the Sharks for Misa or something. Dude, I'm considering, you obviously consider that if you're the Rangers, right? It would never happen, but that's such a good future move for you. You have to consider it. They're in such a, Fox and Shesterkin are going to be the big ones because they're obviously not going to be traded, but I'd like to talk about them. But they have so many other tradable assets. Vincent Trocheck is a really good piece. I don't like him. I hate him. He's a rat, which any playoff team's going to want. But you can get a first and maybe a top. You can get a Brock Nelson deal. That is a Brock Nelson type player. 50, 60 point guy. You can get a Callum Ritchie deal, Callum Ritchie first round pick deal for that player. Then you have what else? You have Braden Schneider. They don't want to sign him again. He's a 25, 24-year-old second pairing defenseman. That's a very tradable asset. You can probably get a second round pick. You don't trade Will Cooley. You just signed him to that big contract extension. That's a guy who I kind of like. He's only 24, 25, power forward. He'll be good for a while. He'll score 40, 50 points every year and hit 150, 180, 200 hits range. That's a very good player. You want to keep that. Lafreniere, I think they've kind of already announced they're not trading him, but like consider it. You get a weird deal from a team trying to take a chance on him. JT Miller. That's JT Miller and Mika Zibanejad are not going anywhere. They are finishing their contracts on the New York Rangers no matter what. I do not care. If you are a hockey team and you are calling about JT Miller, I am like, you should not be a general manager in the league anymore. The guy is a locker room cancer. It's wild. Like, he was already having issues in Vancouver. He has a lack of effort now on the Rangers, even though he's the captain. Like the guy, I've seen so many clips of this guy gliding on the ice, not caring, playing defense. Like that is not a captain, and he's the captain. If any team takes him on, you are stupid, and you should lose your job the next day if you take him on in that contract. Mika Zibanejad, who's having a bounce back year, I would take a chance on him if you want to take on the 3 years of like 8.8 or something, whatever it is. Like, he's bounced back. Obviously, he looked wash last year, though. Like that, he looked gone last year. So there's obviously risk there. But you could definitely get it. Like, they have the pieces, like other than JT Miller, they have the pieces to really just quickly turn this around, be bad for like 2 or 3 years, and then get back to the top of the league. And they're the Rangers, so they're always going to have interest in free agencies, like free agents. Like, no matter what, you're playing in Madison Square Garden in the middle of New York City, you're always going to have interest from other teams. But yeah, the Rangers they're in such a weird spot, man. I have no idea how to feel. I think they could really turn this around quick. But like I thought the Islanders, I felt they could turn around quick. They did, even though I think they can even be quicker or better by trading guys on expiring deals. I think the Rangers have even more tradable assets than the Islanders did last year. So they're in a weird spot, kind of the worst spot to be in. Because like, okay, you're staring down a rebuild and you have no prospects other than Gabe Perreault, who I do like. I really don't know what you do, man. You're in such a weird spot. You got to sell off as many pieces as you can. You got to consider everyone other than JT Miller because he's not going anywhere. And other than that, I really have no other talking points for the Rangers. But the Devils, on the other hand, are kind of a mess. And I'll skim through this because it's the same thing every year for the Devils. Injuries galore. Jack Hughes can never stay healthy. He has the wackiest injuries I've ever seen. He cut himself with a steak knife and almost caused like nerve damage or something. Like, Jack Hughes is such a good player, and I am such a big fan of Jack Hughes. I always have been. I thought he was going to be such a good player. I loved that contract when they signed him. Oh my God, like 8x8 for a 21-year-old or 22-year-old at the time. Like, what a deal. And then he just gets hurt every time you want to be competitive, and it's just frustrating constantly. Like, and then you give Luke Hughes, his brother, a contract, and he's one of the worst defensemen in the league right now, and he looks completely lost. He's scoring on his own team. They are completely the Devils fans hate the Hughes family right now, like wildly. I would too if I was a Devils fan. The guy is getting injured. Quinn Hughes is not getting traded there. He's probably going to stay in Minnesota, which I actually really like that connection with them. Like him and Kaprizov going for 10 years is going to be so fun. Like what else? Jacob Markstrom looks like a horrible signing. Yeah, giving a 36-year-old goaltender a 2x6 is not really the greatest idea. I really have no clue what they were thinking, but I think it's Tom Fitzgerald. I don't know. Tom Fitzgerald. It is Tom Fitzgerald. Like, Tom Fitzgerald completely ruined this core. He had Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, Jack Hughes, Simone Nemec, who like 2021, 2022, around that range. Like, you had such a good young core, and I thought they were going to take off and be good for another 10 years. Then they signed Dougie Hamilton, Andre Palat, Stefan Nason, which is still a good contract, but like Stefan Nason, Brett Pesce, who I do like Brett Pesce, Jacob Markstrom, Jake Allen. Like, you've just been you saw this fun and fast team and cut it off. You became slow and bad. Like, this is why I think we need to start hiring young GMs. Like, Tom Fitzgerald is what, 60? He kind of has an older school mentality. It's not like old. I'm like 56 is like fucking, excuse me, is like ancient. But like, what are we doing here? What are we talking about anymore? Like, you have this young, hungry core with a superstar forward, a very good complementary piece, all of a sudden out of nowhere 25-year-old star winger. You have so many young defenseman prospects in the pipeline. What are you doing? Like, their decor is really good if you think about it. Dougie Hamilton, that's a great signing. Like, obviously it hasn't worked out, but that was a good signing at the time. He had good seasons. Jonas Siegenthaler is a very underrated defenseman. Like, I love Jonas Siegenthaler. Such a good defensive defenseman. Should get more recognition. Brett Pesce was such a good defenseman in Carolina, I would know, and has played very good defensively for the Devils. And then Simone Nemec is such a young, it was second overall pick, young defenseman, had a great season in, I think, I don't know, Slovakia League or something, whatever it was. I don't know where he played, but he had a good season. And then he came over and then they just played him wrong. They never gave him minutes. And then the same thing with Simone Casey, Seamus Casey, I think it is. Wait. I think it's Seamus Casey. It's Seamus Casey. Seamus Casey is a young 21, 22-year-old right-handed defenseman who should be getting minutes. He had a great season at college. What are we doing? You're just, they did the same thing as the Rangers. They don't give the young guys the minutes they need to develop, and they throw them to the old guys who are getting big contracts because they're getting paid more money. It's like no team in this area can run properly. The Islanders weren't running properly. They were signing 37-year-olds to 3 years, 8-year deals, and because the Rangers throw their young guys on the bottom six and don't do anything. It's just the hockey in this area has been so frustrating because the two of the three cannot run right now. The other one's doing pretty good for itself, but the other two can't function. Wow, that was a long hockey rant. I got to come back from that. I got to take a little break. We'll be back after this, but holy. Oh, that not work?
Untouchable, unstoppable.
This is WIUR Sports Radio.
Hi, I'm Robbie Basil, president of WIUR Radio, and I hope you're enjoying today's show. Have you ever wanted to call the biggest games, the biggest moments for the biggest names for Iona Athletics? Then the newly founded WIUR Sports Radio is the place to be. Launched in January of 2025, our goal is to try and get broadcasters here at Iona an opportunity to learn, succeed, and get a chance to be on air. From getting to call the big moments at the hack.
Dinkins trying to go to the rack. Denied. Yafet Mundi with
to seeing the crack of the bat at City Park.
the line drive into left field, around third, and it kicks away. The Gales are going to win it in 10.
We make those moments happen on our brand new WIUR Sports Radio platform on Mixer. If you're interested, feel free to reach out to me via email or to the rest of my e-board to join the club. We are WIUR Sports Radio, the new home of Iona Athletics. Now, back to the show on WIUR, Iona University Radio.
Now, welcome back. Now, as you know, I'm on my previous shows, you probably maybe don't know, maybe do. I am a big Mets fan, and I never got to make an off-season show because the Islanders, the Mets, the hockey rant's still in my brain. The Mets had a horrible start to the off-season. First thing first, they traded Brandon Nimmo for Marcus Semien. So they took on a bad contract for objectively a bad contract, even though we all loved Brandon Nimmo. They took on a bad contract for what was a bad contract. And for an older guy who was making more money per year, but shorter term. So it was okay, eat the salary, but don't have to pay him for that long. And then, okay, questionable, but fine. Then they lose Edwin Diaz in free agency. Okay, to the Dodgers, of course. What do you know? Everybody wants to play for LA because everybody is just soft and doesn't care anymore. Nobody wants to beat the big dog. Nobody wants, like, this is just the Yankees of the early 2000s or 90s. Like, nobody wants to beat them. Everybody wants to join, like losers. And then, oh my God, Pete Alonso's gone. The sky is falling. Like, like I saw that report. I was like, this can't be real, right? What is David Stearns doing? Oh my God, we are lost right now. It's like I've lost all my faith in him. And then all of a sudden, and then it's just quiet. You make horrible, like you just let all three guys leave. And then guess what? You trade Jeff McNeil, which I loved that move. I hated Jeff McNeil. He was such an annoying player to watch. Guy won the batting title and then completely changed how he hit the ball. Like he did this every year. He just forget how he was a hitter or who he was as a hitter. Like he was such a frustrating player to watch because he just didn't play his style of game. He lost his game. It's so annoying. But so many positives to take, and then all of a sudden it's Blade. The entire team is gutted. Then they sign Jorge Polanco. Okay, respectable move. And oh my God, they're in on Kyle Tucker. Dude, this could be huge. Imagine an outfield of Benj, Soto, Tucker. He signs with the Dodgers. And then everybody kept made fun of his chin, which was really funny. But we're not shaming people here. Then he signs with the Dodgers. He's a loser. Everybody signs with the Dodgers. Everyone's a loser. And then, okay, they panic move next day, sign Bo Bichette. 3 years, $126 million or something like that, or maybe 128. Anyway, 3-year deal, perfectly fine. And then they decide to trade for Freddie Peralta. Wow. Okay. The offseason has completely changed. We are now talking about a very good, solid middle of the order bat in Jorge Polanco, who I don't think will be that good. Like he'll play first base. I think he'll be solid enough, but he's never played first. Bo Bichette, okay, that's interesting. You now have way too many infielders. Where's Beatty going to play? Maybe outfield. But then, like, you have Soto, you have Benj, I think Carson Benj is making the team out of camp. They're this team's loaded now. And what do you do? Mark Vientos is probably going to be demoted to the bench. Beatty's going to be moved to left field. Like, the offseason was bad when they signed Bichette. Like, it was still okay and then they signed trade for Freddie Peralta, and it completely changed because now you have a frontline starter, which you didn't have, even though you had McLean, who I still think can be a frontline starter. I think Tong can be a frontline starter. Like, you have such a good young pitching core. And all you had to give up was Jet Williams and Jonah Tong, which I was a big Jet Williams fan. He was only like 22, having good, solid minor league stats, but like solid player. He'll be a solid player. He'll be a good player for the Brewers, which sucks. And Sprout, like 26, solid pitcher, but like nothing crazy. So not mad with what they gave up. The Mets had they completely turned around their offseason. I loved the moves. And then they signed Craig Kimbrell and Austin Barnes to like tryouts or something, or they gave them minor league contracts, which is just, whoa. Craig Kimbrell, welcome to the Mets. He will always be remembered in the NL East as a Mets legend whenever this is said and done. He played for the Braves, nobody cares. But I think the Mets have completely turned around their offseason while the Yankees have just done nothing. They re-signed Cody Bellinger. Cool. I don't know how I feel about that. He's a solid player, but I mean, is there really any positives to it? You haven't gotten better, and you've overall probably gotten worse because everybody's just a year older. Can Judge keep this up? Maybe. By keep this up, I mean keep being a playoff joker, but rake in the regular season. One of those has got to fall off, and I think it's going to be the more likely he falls off in the regular season than he gets and becomes a good playoff player. But they're weird. The Mets had a good offseason. The Yankees did nothing. Such a weird time for baseball because it's spring training starts this month in, I think, the 28th or something like that. So that's cool. Yay. Awesome. Both teams are in such weird spots. The Mets are in a better spot because they have, I think, I think they have a younger core coming up. Tong, like I just said, Tong, McLean, Bench. Like they have an overall better future still, even though they've given up futures. Like just the Mets need to compete right now. The Yankees need to compete right now. The Mets took steps to compete right now. The Yankees did not. They stayed the same. And just baseball's in such a weird spot. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, really, other than we'll be right back after this with the Super Bowl talk because we got to talk about football in this town. I was going to do a little short segment on it, even though we don't really talk football on this show. Obviously, it's the Super Bowl. Everybody cares about the Super Bowl, you know. But yeah, we will be right back after this.
This is WIUR Radio.
Hi, this is Anthony Carlo, TV news reporter in New York City and proud alum. If you're looking for a career in media, Iona is the place to be. From internships to real-world experience, Iona's media program is unprecedented. Take it from an industry professional who made it in the biz.
Now back to WIUR, Iona University Radio.
Before we head out for the day, for the first episode of GTSS Spring Semester Edition, I think we got to talk about the biggest game of the year, biggest sporting event of the year, other than the World Cup. So second biggest, excuse me. The Super Bowl is this Sunday. And as you know, the Jets have a big deal coming up because it's either your former quarterback wins or the team you fucking hate wins. Sorry, excuse me. The team you hate wins. So very... cool. The Jets, if you think about it, drafted the right guy, right? They just didn't wait long enough for the right guy. It is such a weird, it sucks being a fan of the Jets. It is the most miserable experience you can experience. I can't do it anymore, man. It's either the Patriots win another Super Bowl or the former quarterback who we thought was a bust wins a Super Bowl. And he's going to be the first one to win it in the 2018. It is so brutal. There is no other feeling other than being a Browns and a Lions fan. And you know what? I feel like people should really throw in the Cardinals in that range because they haven't won a Super Bowl and they've been like around the longest. The Cardinals, Lions, Browns, and Jets are the worst teams to be a fan of in football. And of course, I'm one of them. So I can talk from experience. I really didn't pay a lot of attention to football until around like COVID, 2020. So I've been watching only losing seasons for my entire life. One of them was I think 2 and 16 season. I don't remember how long 20. And then all it's been is Zach Wilson sucks. Mike White's incredible. Oh no, he sucks now. Aaron Rodgers, oh my God, hurt first week, sucks his second season. Justin Fields, he's going to be incredible, also sucks. And Tyrod Taylor's been there for around 4 years as the backup quarterback. It sucks being a fan of football as a Jets fan because it's just nothing but pain and nothing but and they made the right moves. I came on this show a couple months ago and said I loved the moves of trading Sauce and Quinnen and not trading Brees was kind of confusing, but trading Quinnen and Sauce was a good trade in my eyes. I thought, what a good trade that was for the Jets. You're not competing anytime soon. You might as well get a young wide receiver, two first-round picks from a team, and then another first-round pick from the Cowboys, who are kind of weird, always getting consistent. They'll probably be good next year, but hopefully they'll be bad. But the Colts immediately fell off, by the way. Oh my God. I think Sauce Gardner made a quote he's finally ready to play competitive football. And then they lost 8 of their last 9 games and they missed the playoffs. It's really funny. And now they have the 14th or 15th pick, the Jets. So that's cool. You got 2 top 20 picks in the first round. You already had that before and messed it up. Don't mess it up again. Please. They probably will, they're the Jets. But they also got a young wide receiver from the Colts. They got a young defensive player from the Cowboys and a first-round pick. The team, I liked the moves they made. And yet, the Super Bowl has kind of just completely soured that because it's 2 players, it's 2 teams. One team you hate so much. and have constantly seen win and own you for 20 years. And then the other one's the quarterback you could have had if you just took your time, that many Jets fans would have actually liked to keep, including myself. I really would have liked to keep Sam Darnold over drafting Zach. Like, you should have just built pieces around a quarterback. They don't take their time. Gino, obviously Zach Wilson's the only one who doesn't turn into anything because, of course, like, he's still just a bad quarterback. But being a Jets fan sucks. And I don't think there's any other fan base that experiences that. Because, I mean, until I think somebody said this to me, until Joe Namath's probably dead, which grim to think about, I know. The Jets are never winning anything because he sold his soul to the devil to win that Super Bowl against the Baltimore Colts, which is, yeah. Or, hey, good news, not good news, but kind of. Woody Johnson was in the Epstein files. So, like, hopefully, but he's rich, so he's probably going to be fine. Not to get political here. Hopefully he's gone. But, like, guys, we got to start rioting. We got to, like, make jokes about him. We got to, like, harass Woody Johnson at this point if we want him gone. And he's a bad person, so we can do it and not feel bad, right? Like you can harass somebody if he's a bad person, right? I don't know. I'm talking about harassing on a sports show. But yeah, that's just being a Jets fan sucks. We need to get Woody Johnson out of here. I really don't know what else to talk about. There's so much stuff that happened, like basketball. Knicks are good. Nets suck. I talked about it in the opening. That's really all I have to say. I don't watch basketball because I find it boring. Even though, hey, I'm a Pistons fan. First in the East. We talking about a Thunder Pistons finals? I'd watch that. I'd enjoy that. But yeah, other than that, I think that's where I'm going to call it. It's so fun to be back. I'm so happy to be here. I love doing this. I love being able to talk about sports just openly, even though I have to kind of censor myself because I would be going on long rants with lots of bad, like just saying all the shit I wanted to say, saying all the stuff I wanted to. But yeah, I've had so much fun. I love doing this. I'm happy to be back. And yeah, that is going to do it for this episode this week of GTSS. I'm Jason Adams, and I will see you all hopefully next week.